Mini episode 399 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by DOU Productions, delivering coverage of sports and pop culture through columns, live blogs, and original videos. Follow them on the web at generationchatter.blogspot.com.
The FDH Lounge. You want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Welcome back to the FDH Lounge. It's Rick Morris and Kyle Ross breaking down the NFC East for you. This wildly overrated division year in and year out that the East Coast liberal media loves foisting attention on.
Oh, we're getting into this right away, don't you?
Taking a look back at 2013 ahead to 2014.
I didn't know ESPN qualified as the liberal media.
I just like to bait you on that. But yeah, the NFC East, has there ever been a division in the history of sports that gets more attention in inverse proportion to how good they are? This is a mess with these four teams here, Kyle.
What great cities, though. What great American cities.
We're here to rate the football franchise, however.
Okay, well, I don't like this division at all.
I don't like it at all either.
For a while there, last season, it appeared that 8-8 would be all it takes to win the NFC East.
Yeah.
Turned out that the Eagles really turned it on of late. And
late run.
Yeah, wound up going 10-6 and taking the division. Dallas, as they always do.
Mm-hmm.
It came down to a one-game scenario at the end of the year, and they lost that game to not win the division.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, the NFC North wound up being worse than the East in terms of the division. So let's give the East a little bit of credit. Now, that being said, this is the one division where right now I do not see a clear-cut favorite going into next year, or even there being a team that I want to pick to win the division. Eagles, as you remember last year, I kind of surprised you.
Mm-hmm.
I said that they would go 8-8. They even did better than that, go 10-6, as we said, won the division. I don't think they can match that record, even as much as I like Chip Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Foles, I find it very hard to believe that he's going to duplicate what he did in 2013 and 2014.
The fact that he's the perfect quarterback for that system,
he's
really?
Not. He's not.
I know it drives
he's
you
not
insane.
as mobile. He's just not. I know he had the great stats. He had that great TD to INT ratio. But other than that game against Oakland, and it's Oakland, let's be honest, he never struck me in any of those games as a dominating quarterback.
Right. Product of the system.
Yeah, so, and another, I'll tell you two things about Riley Cooper right now as well, okay? One, he's never going to be invited to the NWA reunion concert. And two, he ain't duplicating his numbers either next year.
No, he
They
is
may
not.
be in the market for a receiver.
Right.
The deep receiver class, Odell Beckham Jr. is a name I've heard bandied about for the Eagles.
Yeah, they still got some work to do shoring up. On the theory that I explained earlier in the AFC with San Diego and with Indianapolis, anybody that I think is borderline, I got to pick against them. I do have Philadelphia at 9-7, tied for the division championship, but not making the playoffs at all. I said to you off air, my default pick, I think I picked them last year. I've probably picked them every one of the last several years. When in doubt, go with the New York Giants. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the last several years. I got them at 9-7, which is what their record was the last time they won the Super Bowl. Actually, they were 7-9 last year. They had that brutal, 0-6 start. But again, the flukiness of the beginning of the last NFL season, they were, from that point on, a more than respectable 7-3. More than respectable indeed. As you pointed out off air, the turnover or the point differential was kind of fugly, but still, again, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Give me the Giants in this division here.
I had the Giants winning the division last year, picked them to go 9-7. They, as you so eloquently put it, went 7-9.
Yeah.
Some stuff cancels each other out. Some of the key metrics here. They were -15 in giveaway takeaway ratio. That was an NFC worst.
Okay.
So that usually indicates an uptick. But, Rick Morris, that point differential was very, very poor for a 7-9 team here. I'll bring it up if I can hit the right button here. It was more indicative of like a 5 or 6 win team.
Okay.
And the Giants, you have to admit, here's what's keeping me from following in your footsteps. They've got a lot of holes.
Especially on defense.
Yeah. It's their pick, I think, is going to be very dependent on what happens in the couple picks above them. They're going to lose Akeem Nicks, it looks like, free agent. I think they're going to let him walk. You could replace him, potentially. Or they need help on both lines.
Yes.
Their offensive line stinks, and their defensive line stinks.
Aside from that, they have great play in the trenches.
Yes. I'll say, most teams whose offensive line and defensive line stink don't win divisions. So Eli Manning was horrible last year. So I just can't. This is the team I have the worst read on as of right now in the entire NFC. They could be anywhere from 6-10 to 10-6. And that point differential, by the way, was minus 89, the same as Minnesota, who was 5-10-1.
I just think it was an unsustainable down year for them. I do expect that in free agency and in the draft, those lines are going to be the main things that they address for next year. Secondary has been an ongoing concern for them for many years as well. They do need to do better there as well. But I think, again, they've done very well with developing receivers over a period of time. I think it's going to be a big comeback year from Eli Manning. I think he's going to want to show.
He can't do worse.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a big one. I think he's got a chance to maybe cut that really brutal interception total in half. And, again, just go out there and have, I'm not saying an MVP caliber season, but ultimately I do think having Eli Manning, that's going to be the difference maker in this division. It's why I'm leaning towards the Giants with that pick there.
Are you surprised Coughlin came back? I think when they were 0-6, I thought there was no way he'd be back this year.
He
must still see something.
He regrets probably not going out on top when he had the chance, and I think he's looking at it thinking it's no more unlikely now than it was a year or two before we won last time. That's probably what must be in his mind. By the way, you queried me when we were going through another division when I said about Andrew Luck winning 2 Super Bowls. Eli Manning's got 2 Super Bowl championships.
And neither were deserved.
What do you mean? Well, he had excellent quarterback play in those postseasons. It was funny because I was joking about it at the time that the calendar years that it happened were 2008 and 2012. So I remember making the joke that, boy, this guy, once the Iowa caucuses come and go, this guy is absolutely unstoppable. But, again, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady does. When you look at the fact that Eli Manning's got 2, it really doesn't make it so unthinkable for Andrew Luck now, does it? I'll answer that for you. No.
Lucky, those Super Bowls. Those were so lucky.
That helmet catch was all skill.
I told you the following year they wouldn't make the playoffs, and they didn't. It's 2 years in a row they haven't made the playoffs. They let me down. I was with you. I picked them to win the division last year. I think the reason was, though, is I made the lazy move of just looking at the skill positions and the coach and not the rest of the team, and the rest of the team stinks. I'm telling you, they got to address a lot. They got to hit a whole. There's a lot of areas that they need help with.
Well, you look at a team that's got holes. We'll go to this one next. They were 8-8 last year. I got them 8-8 next year.
They're 8-8 every year.
They're 8-8, every year. Because, again, they have very flashy players. They have some of the best players in the league when you're looking at Ware and Bryant and guys like that at different positions.
Romo.
Nice try. But they have so many horrid contracts, Kyle. They have no depth.
They're in salary cap hell.
Salary cap hell.
Although the league is upping the salary. Did you see this? The league's it's funny in that it still doesn't help them as much as they need to be helped. They need to cut some people. And their defense, good grief.
Well, and given their propensity for keeping digging while they're still in a hole, let's not assume that would do them any good. That's just more money Jerry Jones is going to blow on players.
The hiring of Monte Kiffin was atrocious on a number of levels. First and foremost, the last time we saw one of his defenses was in college at USC, and who was running all over that defense? Chip Kelly at Oregon, who just got hired by your main rival.
Yeah.
So that was a really horrible hire. Now, they're just adding coaches. Their coaching staff is like one of these network pregame shows. Instead of firing everyone, let's just bring another bumbling idiot in the mix.
Well, CBS blew out a couple on their pregame show.
They did.
Bye-bye Marino and Sharp.
Well, thank you. Hello, alimony. Or not. Hello, alimony and child support.
That annoying Time Warner pitch man is still in there. What's his name again?
Has anyone, you can't say played out because he isn't playing.
Yeah.
Has anyone commentated their way out of a future coaching gig than Bill Cowher?
Probably not.
He's horrible.
He is.
You watch him and you're like, how did this man? Talk about 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
How does Bill Cowher have any?
That's true.
Then again, Mike Ditka has one. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
You need to run the ball more. Mike, we were talking about defense. Yes, but anyway.
Mike Ditka, draft expert.
Yeah. Then again, I'd love to pick Dallas to win this division next year. Love them on offense.
I'll be in the conversation.
Yeah, they'll probably be 8-8 again.
Yeah.
But that defense needs a lot of repairs.
Yep.
You know, with their draft pick, they're going defense. Probably the best defensive player on the board. safety is a position in particular they should target. Calvin Pryor is a name that has climbed up some boards recently. Safety out of Louisville. I watched him on tape, believe it or not, Rick Boris. I rarely watch people on tape, but I can say I watched Calvin Pryor on tape.
Actual tape or like via the internet?
Yeah, it was via the internet.
Oh, okay.
It was on the Football Outsiders website, but it was the tape.
Oh, okay.
Well, what do you think? They're giving me the tape? Give me the tape.
I didn't know. I was expecting you to break down the coach's 22 angle.
No.
Okay.
He looked real good. That would be a name they'd love to welcome into the fold. But Dallas is Dallas, and they just always find a way to screw it up.
Yep.
So I'm not ready to be big on them either. They also went 5-1 in the division last year. It'd be hard-pressed to match that, I think.
Yeah, that's not going to repeat itself again because wins against even the last-place team in the division will be a little bit tougher to come by because they probably bottomed out last year. Your 3-3 or 3-13 Washington Redskins. I got them at 6-10 this year. I do have them doubling their win total with Jay Gruden coming in there. But again, this is a team that still does not have a good defense. A lot of holes there. That's the whole thing in the division here. And I'm almost sort of second-guessing myself on not taking Philly to win this. I'm going to hold firm that because I'm not sold on them, I can't go with them because there are too many teams that I'm sold on returning to the playoffs this year. But so many teams have so many holes in this division, and Washington certainly does as well. I know you and I are looking for better things with the combination of Gruden and RG3, but to me that only gets them to 6-10 and a borderline mediocrity at best.
Dallas was pretty close on last year. Said I just wanted to do this for the sake of consistency. I said 7-9. They went 8-8. So I was one game off with them. I was 2 games off with the Giants. I was 2 games off with the Eagles. The Redskins, I was off by the most, 3 games. I said 6-10 before last year. I think you did as well.
Yeah.
But it should be noted that you and I were as down on the Redskins as anybody.
Yes, we
you
were.
and I, we circled them and said, you're not going to find anyone more down on the Redskins than us. Even people who I really respect, like Football Outsiders, and their almanac, they had the Redskins like 10-6 and winning that division again last year. So it all went wrong. The nation's capital.
Yep.
And I ain't talking about Barack Obama. Okay.
You could be.
No. Okay. Cool guy, though.
You throw it up, I slam it down.
Yeah, cool guy. He underachieved as a president. He's a cool guy. But here's the thing. Washington was 0-6 in the division. That record will improve. 1-11 in the conference. That'll improve. We talk about teams whose win total fluctuates by 4 or more every year, roughly a third of the league. This is clearly a team that's going to fit into that group. They'll win 7 games next year, at least.
I got them at 6.
To be honest with you, part of me just wants to pick all 4 of the teams in this division to go 8-8, and then in August I'll just pick the one I like the most and say they get the tiebreaker. That's what I feel here. I just think that all these teams are so similar. They all have bad defenses, relatively so, and just a lot of holes to fill. I guess the Eagles do have the least amount of holes to fill, but I think that a lot of their guys overachieved last year. While the Redskins, everyone underachieved. RG3, look, he's the Luck v. RG3 debate is
it's over.
That's as dead as Jacob Marley.
Yeah.
But
Luck and Wilson is the only real debate that matters.
But RG3 is better than he showed last year. He was never healthy. It was stupid to rush him back. The whole thing was with Shanahan was so toxic. I mean, when your quarterback and coach hate each other, and look, I wasn't there, but it appeared to hate each other.
I'm going to say this, though, at the risk of never winning.
You can't be good when it's...
At the risk of never winning that NAACP Image Award that I've clearly been chasing for so long.
Oh, now what are you going to do? What are you going to say?
I'm just going to point out, RG3, his first year, did it in a complete gimmick offense. He has yet to prove at the pro level he can't run... that he can run a standard pocket-based NFL offense.
This is costing you an NAACP Image Award?
Well, you're not allowed to say anything bad about him, are you? I mean, if that constitutes bad, well, I don't know. But I want to see him, and I'm not saying that he can't. All right, you're not going to hear me say he can't do it from the kind of offense. But even a guy, again, not to make this a black quarterback thing, but Russell Wilson, all right, proves he can do it in the pocket when he has to. RG3 has to reach that same standard before I pronounce him that kind of a winner.
Yeah, I do, and that's why, Washington, while I think they'll be improved, they have a ceiling on it. I mean, they're not... They won't be as bad as they were last year, but they will not be as good as they were in RG3's rookie season.
Right.
How about that?
Okay.
How about something we can all agree on?
Yes. That sounds very, very sound.
They do not. Here's trouble, though. They do not have a first-round draft pick because of the RG3 trade.
The rape that keeps on giving, that St. Louis thing. I said at the time, anybody that made that deal would highly, highly regret it.
Well... Let's be fair.
Washington had a lot of holes before they made that deal.
They did, but they won a division championship, and I know that's only worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah.
But St. Louis ain't done nothing.
Oh, true. Yeah. Well, nothing yet. Spoiler alert.
Okay. I know you like the Rams a lot.
Well, and the thing is, I don't even like Jeff Fisher personally after the cheap shots that he took last
I don't know him personally, but I don't think I like him either.
I don't like him. He took those cheap shots at Bernie Kosar.
That was uncalled for.
Yes, exactly. It was uncalled for. He showed himself to be a man of poor character. And yet I'm surprisingly high on his St. Louis Rams, even after they let me down last year. But that's another discussion for another division in the NFC West. In the East, we agree. It is very, very fitting that the team that I am picking to be the divisional champions, the New York Giants, actually play in the Meadowlands in the state of New Jersey, because this is basically the wasteland that everyone always pictures New Jersey as being. This NFC East is a toxic waste dump, I tell you, Kyle Ross.
Yeah, a lot of mediocrity.
Yes.
A lot of mediocrity. And I'll give my official pick in August.
All right. Well, in a word from the boss that we can sum it up with, this division, Badlands.
As we bring the show to a close, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, all Clear Channel affiliates, TNT, TBS, USA, UPN, Deadspin.com, YouTube.com, YTMND.com, MySpace.com, various blogs, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, IamBoard.com, Billboard.com, Google.com, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Classic, NBA TV, NFL Network, Sports Time Ohio, Athlon Magazine, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, The Boomerang Channel, QVC, BET, The Spice Channel, Steno Notebooks, Manwich, Papermate Office Supplies, waitresses, strippers, bartenders, garbage men, janitors, microwave popcorn, the writers of The Office, Scrubs, Entourage, My Name is Earl, Oz, Metalocalypse and the Boondocks, Aquafina, and the periodic table of elements.